Hello, my name is Tyler Kendall. I am the executive chef at Antonio's Bar and Trattoria in Endicott, New York, and today I'm going to be demoing one of my favorite dishes to make, Beef Wellington. Alright, today we're going to be using roughly 8 cremini mushrooms, 3 shallots, a few sprigs of thyme, 4 slices of prosciutto or Parma ham, Dijon mustard, 2 eggs, 7-ounce cut of beef tenderloin, kosher salt, black pepper, and puff pastry. First, we need to start with constructing our mushroom duxelle, which is going to wrap the beef tenderloin. We're going to take our mushrooms and our shallots and we're going to chop them really fine into pretty much minced mushroom and minced shallot. And then you're going to pull off your bits of thyme and mix it into the saute pan as you're cooking it down. The point of making the duxelle is cooking all the moisture out of the mushrooms and shallots, so it makes like a pate or a mushroom somewhat paste. All right, so in your pan, we're going to start with a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick immediately when you stick the mushrooms in. You're going to dump in your mushroom and shallot mix. A trick to help keep the mushrooms from sticking to the pan is do it at kind of like a low medium heat. Now you add in your thyme as all the ingredients are in there. Call it thyme because it takes so much time to get all these little leaves off. Yeah, you're gonna keep stirring this so it doesn't stick. And eventually it's going to start to cook down. You're going to see a lot of moisture building up in the pan. And eventually it's all going to start steaming out, and once you stop seeing the steam and it's starting to stick, that's when you're just about done. It should roughly take about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how hot your stove is. This is the final product of your mushroom duxelle. You're going to notice it's going to be a lot darker in color with all the moisture out of it, and it's going to be kind of pate-like. After this step, you want to let this cool down for a little bit because we're not trying to have everything continue to cook the beef while we're wrapping it up, and it's easier to work with when it's cool as well. And now we're going to work on sauteing our beef tenderloin to get a good sear on all sides to lock in all the juices for when it gets wrapped up into the puff pastry. This part we're going to have at a high heat, just about smoking the oil, so it gets a real quick sear because we're not trying to cook the inside of the beef, we're just trying to sear off the outside to lock in all the juice. While your pan is heating up, we're going to take our filet, we're going to season it with a little bit of kosher salt, and then a little bit of crushed black pepper. So it's nice and coated all around the filet. See that we got a little bit of smoke coming off of it. You gently set your filet in there facing away from you so it doesn't splash you with any oil. And a nice golden brown edge on it. It's sealing in everything we want to keep inside the tenderloin. You're going to want to try to do that to all sides of the beef. Your pan's nice and hot, this shouldn't take very long. Yeah, this process doesn't take too long because this is all in real time, but if you go too long and you start cooking the center when it's in the oven, you're going to have an overcooked Wellington. The whole trick here is to cook everything in layers, so when your final product comes out, it's a perfect medium rare to a medium coming out of the oven. Because we're trying to balance the time of the baking of the puff pastry so the outside of the pastry doesn't burn, but also the internal temperature of the fillet is also where we want it, at about 120 to 130 degrees. Now that you have a good sear on all sides of your beef, we're going to set this aside. Ideally, you'd want to let this cool and rest and be placed into a cooler before you're ready to wrap it all up. Now that the beef is cooled down and your duxelle is cooled down, you want to lay out your prosciutto in kind of like a square so they're slightly overlapping. I found the good trick is to lay it out on plastic wrap, because then it helps hold everything together so you're not having pieces falling off as you're trying to wrap it all over. So now we're going to take our duxelle, lay it out, and spread it all over. The goal here is to have it completely encase the whole beef. Now we're going to take our chilled tenderloin and our Dijon mustard, and we're just going to put a light rub all around the fillet. And then set it in the middle of your prosciutto duxelle combination. And now comes the fun part of rolling it all up. Make sure it's all packed nice and even. We're looking for a nice ball-like object. Now if you're using grocery store puff pastry like I am here, this one was folded over on itself, so you want to make sure that the edges are nice and even so when you go to wrap it up it doesn't break on you and rip. We're going to take our wrapped Wellington, stay right in the middle. Now we're not trying to have too much overlap here with our puff pastry, so I'm just kind of measuring out where I want to be. We're probably going to have to take off a little bit of the edge. And that's about what we're looking for. From here you're going to want to have either a baking sheet or a pan to set the beef Wellington on. You want to put a little bit of grease or oil or something non-stick so your puff pastry doesn't stick to that. We have our egg wash here. This is going to give that nice golden brown outside of the puff pastry. I'm just going to gently roll it on the edges, nice and evenly coated, and set that there. I like to take a knife and just gently score the outside of the puff pastry, kind of give it a little bit of a checkerboard or crosshatch look on it. You have to be very, very gentle. You're just barely dragging the knife over it. Sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt on the outside. And from here we're going into a 400-degree oven for roughly about 10 to 15 minutes until the outside of the puff pastry is a nice golden flaky brown. So this is the final product out of the oven, a nice golden brown on the outside. From here we're going to take it and slice it and set it on a plate with some sauteed broccoli rabe and a fresh baked potato. Now our final product. I personally like Beef Wellington with a beef demi-glaze. That is my perfect sauce for this. But today we're using a soubise, which is a variation of a bechamel with blended in sauteed onion. So it's more of a onion sauce, which will help enhance the flavor of the mushroom duxelle we have in there and pairs well with the beef. Thank you for joining me on my creation of the Beef Wellington, one of my favorite dishes, and I love to produce it for special events here at Antonio's alongside of our wonderful Italian menu and selection of Italian gelatos and signature cocktails. We're open Tuesday through Saturday for dinner service, and we also do a wonderful brunch on Sunday mornings.